All right. So I was asking who got to see, before I started the recording, who got to see the solar eclipse on Monday. That was pretty cool. I'd see it was all over the news. I was kind of wishing that I had carved out time to go to those areas that had totality, but I never think in advance. However, in 2 years, this will be happening over a number of other countries. So Spain, I saw, was on the list. So maybe I'll put that in my calendar for August of 2026 to plan ahead and get to totality. So those who are in Europe, that should be easier access for you. That's a long flight for me. I'm in Southern California. Okay, so let me know where you're joining us from. Everybody who is here live, go ahead and type in the chat so I can kind of see where we are on the map. And our program for today is kind of a continuation of what I've been putting out into the airwaves over the last month. We've been talking about how prevalent it is that there's negative expectations about your potential for conceiving a healthy pregnancy, particularly over the age of 40. But really this messaging starts around the age of 35. And if you're 32, you may already be feeling some pressure because you're looking down the line going, well, when does fertility fall off the cliff? And I don't believe that there's a cliff that it falls off of. And I believe that all of our assumptions based on the type of data that is gathered are doing us a disservice, first of all, by, I think, painting a picture that is not representative of what's actually going on, because there's only certain people that are included in these studies. And I think that when we are bombarded by negative expectations, we make choices based on those outcomes that don't necessarily lead us in the most constructive direction. And there are many ways that the mind and body connect together to sort of fulfill what expectations that we have. So for all of these reasons, I'm feeling super strongly that it's important for us to be aware of our influences, of what we expect, and take a proactive approach to saying, how do we actually want to look at these things? What kind of messages and visions do we want to internalize that are going to help us best move toward our goals? So I shared a number of videos on YouTube where I was responding to different emails that I had received and my reactions to that. And then over the last 2 weeks, we did 3 different live meditations about a mind-body cleanse to release, like physically release from your body the energy of negativity that you may have internalized from whatever messaging you might be getting, from whatever experiences you've had in the past, and also making space to bring in the positive energy to have hopeful expectations. So I have been feeling so much excitement about the interest in this direction and just the potential we have to really shift how we approach things and the kinds of outcomes that we see if we can come together around this shared mission of clearing out the negative energy, opening to the positive, and making choices from that place. So my plan for today is twofold. There was one more element of meditation that I want to share with you, kind of as it was something that I wanted to include in the third guided meditation, an idea I had, but I kind of didn't feel I had space for it. So I'm going to give you a technique around that. And then I want to talk about how we could do a more extended experience together. I'm calling it a 2-cycle cleanse, where we work from a place of belief in the incredible potential of your body when you nourish it in positive ways and don't interfere with a bunch of things that we don't really know if are helpful. So I'm going to be starting with a little technique that you can apply right away. We'll do this together, and then we'll segue into talking about how we can do this more extended experience together. All right, so I'm going to check in the chat here, and I'm going to be able to hang out for a good long time. We'll go through my planned content, and I'll have lots of time for questions and answers. So keep any questions coming in the chat as we go, but I will hang out to pick up anything that I might have missed as we've gone through. If you need to pop in and out, that is fine. This will be available on replay. Okay, Begonia is joining us from Spain. Annabelle's here from Greece. Hi, Annabelle. Emma from Sweden. Katie, Cincinnati. Garland from Maryland. Juliana, Stockport, England. I'm seeing a lot of familiar names, so I'm excited that you've been connecting throughout the series here. Lily from Bulgaria. Stina is in Sweden. Gwenchian in Wales. Karen in Hawaii. All right, we got a lot of time zones covered here. And you can chat with each other in the chat as well if you're watching this, if you're with us live. Okay, so the recordings from the 3 live sessions that I did are available in an unlisted YouTube playlist. I've been emailing that out. I won't leave those up forever. I plan to leave them up for the next week. It's something I might kind of turn into a separate little program or revise it. I don't know. But this is just for right now. It's very fresh and new, and I'd like you to have a chance to experience that. And Sharon is driving while listening. Okay, so just take in what we're doing for this technique, but you'll want to do that later when you can do the actual actions that are involved. Keep your hands on the steering wheel. So what we're going to do here is combining some visualization with a technique that's called tapping in. And there are many types of tapping that are used therapeutically. So to differentiate, there's emotional freedom technique. That's a kind of tapping different meridians, helps to move energy and release traumas and things like that. This is not EFT. This is tapping from an EMDR protocol for trauma treatment that is designed to help deepen resources that we kind of store in our mind, our body, our nervous system. And it simply involves bilateral stimulation. You can do bilateral stimulation in many ways. In EMDR, it was first done by following your fingers from side to side. The practitioner moves their fingers, you follow with your eyes while recalling a negative experience, and that helps with accessing the memories and the trauma to help reprogram it. They found that actually anything bilateral kind of accesses that place. So on your own, you can tap, put your hands on your shoulders and just tap your shoulders. And you can combine this with any kind of positive imagery you want to envision, a peaceful place, envision a nurturing, supportive figure. You can include this tapping to help it to go on a deeper level. You can tap on your knees. Just think, it's about bilateral, alternating sides in a way that feels comfortable. We cross our arms just because it's easy to reach ourselves this way. Okay, so the image that I want to invite in is one to help protect your positive energy. So if you've been doing these practices with me and you're kind of feeling the vibe and you're like, yeah, I can do this. People are going to say what they're going to say, but I've got my own voice inside of me. I'm coming from this place of empowerment. And then you open up Facebook and somebody posted this thing. You get a message from your doctor. They said this thing. It's like, oh, my energy. And it's like so easy for that to get dissipated, right? So we want to contain it and filter out. We want to have a filter for what comes into our energy space. So we're not going to do a bigger, visualization, which you can do on your own, breathing and relaxing and music and all that to get a deeper effect. I'm going to show you just how you can do this very quickly in any moment. So we're going to start with our tapping, connect with the breath flowing into your body and out. So just follow a breath into your body and out. One more. Okay, and envision a protective bubble around you. It could be a cylinder or a sphere. Make sure it has a top and a bottom. As you're breathing and as you're tapping, just noticing this protective bubble around you. Give it a good amount of space, because this is holding all of your energy of hope, of optimism. This is very sunny energy. It's bright, it's strong, it's vibrant. Just notice your energy field, your protective bubble, holding in, protecting your energy space, holding the positivity around you. And breathing into this and noticing what it feels like to be in this beautiful bubble of yes. So much possibility. Yes, I am open. Yes, I can. And then notice external sources of not so positive energy in a distance coming toward you. Maybe it's a digital device. Maybe it's a provider. Maybe it's a well-meaning but misguided friend. Just noticing some energy, and it's got a little bit of a black cloud kind of energy. It's shaking its head. It's looking down. It's worried, concerned. And that energy is outside of your bubble. Noticing how your bubble protects you so that you can see who's out there. You see what's out there. You still have your protected bubble. You get to decide what permeates. If anything sneaks through, you can send it on out. Just send it out with your breath. Anything that's coming in that's not serving you. You can see it bouncing off of this filter. You can be seeing it sent out if it comes through. You get to choose what energy you take in. You can choose to listen and hear, but you can choose to leave that energy outside of your protective bubble. So noticing what it feels like to be contained in your positive energy field, aware that there are many energies out there. They can be separate from yours. You can even put a little bubble around another energy and send it drifting off, floating away in its own bubble, or maybe it hovers just outside of yours. But it doesn't need to enter yours or combine with yours. Breathing in to a sense of sunshine, hopefulness, and yes. Allow your hands to rest now wherever they feel comfortable. Letting your eyes open if they've been closed. Please let me know in the chat, or you can unmute yourself if you don't want to. If you want to wait to be called on, you can do a raise hand emoji, and then I can call on you to unmute yourself. Let me know if you understood that, if you were able to follow along, how that felt for you. And that is something you can use with anything, really. I didn't say specifically energy around such and such. That was yours to choose. What is it that you want to protect your energy around? What is it that you want to deflect? I shared with you that I've had a very topsy-turvy week with multiple things coming into my sphere that I had to handle, that were not things I wanted to handle, that were not going very well, as in contractors doing housework that was going very badly and thinking I'm getting scammed and trying to intervene, and then another issue happening in another place. Multiple things came from so many directions. And as I was driving home before this session, I was practicing this while driving, not tapping. Somebody else was joining us while driving. This is relevant for them. I was breathing, and I kept having intrusive conversations about all the things that I wanted to say to the people who were doing me wrong. And I kept just going back into that place. I'm like, no, we're about to have our fertility chat. Go away. Thoughts about incompetent contractors who are scamming me. Go away. And so I did this. I was like, well, what are we going to be doing today? We're protecting our energy. So I was like, okay, I'm putting all of that in its own bubble, its own container. It's not for now. That's separate. I'm sending that away, and I'm holding my space for what's most important right now. And there are always so many energies around us of what we might be drawn into, what we need to attend to, and we want to really develop that ability to direct our focus and protect our energy so that things aren't just flooding in willy-nilly, but we can choose what's going to be a really helpful and grounded way to navigate whatever is going on. Okay, so Juliana says, great visual. I've been feeling really more positive after doing the session last week. I love that thought of the bubble, keeping that positivity surrounding me, and nothing negative can burst the bubble. Honestly, this is all helping so much. I'm believing more again for the first time in a good few months. Okay, I love hearing this. This is fantastic. And if you've been to one of the sessions live, we did 3 sessions for the Mind Body Cleanse. Know that each one of them is a little different, and you can go through all of them. Like, this could be like your retreat week where you just, each of them, the session is about an hour, maybe more, but the guided meditation part is about half an hour. This could be kind of like your own immersion retreat experience. So go follow the link to those unlisted videos, and you can just keep doing it. I've included slightly different things in each one, and so it may go to different places, may go deeper. Emily says, I noticed both outside negativity, Facebook groups, and Googling statistics, and also a younger me who is scared and therefore wary and negative. I actually invited the younger me into the bubble to get some hopefulness and possibilities. The Facebook group stayed out. I got chills hearing that. We're inviting your younger you that's scared into that bubble. Emily, that is beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else want to share any reflections or questions about that experience? Emma, so easy and so good. I had negativity from myself leaving me and my bubble. Wonderful. Yes, Emma, I see you here. And there are so many things that can lead us to have that negativity, and some of it is our own experiences that have been hard, that have set us up to anticipate. I'll use my more trivial example of hiring contractors to do work. Well, I've had a lot of bad experiences with outsourcing. I'm trying to build trust to be able to outsource, and I found a property manager. I really vetted the property manager, like, oh, they sound really good. They have good contractors. They're going to really work, in a boutique kind of way. And it's just been an absolute disaster. And so my fears of this are founded in bad prior experiences, bad current experiences. But I still have hope that, I have a great tax person. Anybody working on their taxes? The U.S. taxes are due in 5 days. I had a terrible accountant last year. This year, I just want to have him over for dinner. I want to give him a hug. He's so good. I have a plumber that came and did the work to repair the leak above our garage. It was leaking through Monday. Water dripping down onto my husband's workbench. I opened up the ceiling, and it was like water, slimy water coming down. He came and did the work yesterday, and he charged us $138 to fix the leaky pipe. I just could not believe, after I've been scammed left and right, and I have a wonderful handyman that I can count on. So I have negative experiences and I have positive experiences, and I want to build that hopefulness that I can have more, just learning from the negative ones and realizing you kiss some frogs sometimes. So if you've sought out help from fertility providers, practitioners, naturopaths, acupuncturists, maybe you've had a mixed bag of experiences. That doesn't mean you can't find good help. It means that there's a mixed bag out there in every avenue. It's going to be like that. And so we want to hold our hopefulness that we don't have to do everything ourselves. We can find effective help, but sometimes there's a process. So the negative, we can, be strategic with it. Say, what do I let in? What do I just learn from? And then how do I set myself up to be able to hold my hopeful expectations and make choices that are going to lead to more positive outcomes? Annabelle says, I imagine myself in a bright, sunny yes bubble and saw past gynecologist. I saw past gynecologist bouncing off of it. Yes, so many negative Nellies out there, right? I'm going to share a story that's a little bit painful, but there's really a silver lining here. I've been watching somebody, I don't know if she's here with us live. Another Emma is my program. Turned me on to a social psychologist. Her name, let me know if you know, her name is, oh gosh, now I'm not going to be able to remember it. She does a lot of stuff on mindlessness versus mindfulness. She's a Harvard social psychologist. Oh my gosh, I can't remember her first name now. Shannon, Esther. No, I can't remember her name. But anyway, she talks about, talks about the importance of positive expectations. And she says, doctors will tell somebody you have 6 months to live. And that is such, they don't know. Why are they putting that out there? And this weekend, I went to visit my parents in LA, and I took my mom to visit my aunt, who's currently going through very intensive cancer treatment. She has very advanced cancer. Her daughter passed away from cancer, my cousin, 5-ish years ago. And now she's going through cancer treatment as well, a different kind of cancer. And the prognosis, the numbers aren't looking good. And I let her just kind of share about everything that's going on. And she said the doctor told her she has 1 year. They expect 1 year. 2 doctors told her that. And she was taking that on. Okay, well, she even said the doctors are the professionals. They know about these things, and they say 1 year. And she's kind of embracing that as, okay, well, I'm gonna do what I can. I let her talk about, what do you want to do with your time? What do you envision? And I was thinking about everything that we've been talking about here, about the impact of expectations. And I said one thing to her that I hoped will just plant a seed that will keep getting watered. And I said, I can't remember exactly. It was I said something but do you believe something else could be possible? Yes, that's it. I said, yeah, the doctors have a lot of experience that they're going off, but do you believe that something else could be possible? And she said, oh yes, I pray every day. I pray, and I believe that if, God has a plan, a different plan, that will happen. I said, good. I said, because anything's possible. I said, sometimes they're wrong. And maybe you'll be the exception. Because it happens sometimes. So I just planted that really strong seed. She's already got that, but she also has, the doctor said this, and she's going around and telling everybody in the family, the doctor said I have a year. And I just want to amplify that there's something else possible. And I was pretty pessimistic before I saw her, but I see a bright light in her. A lot of courage and strength despite everything that she's going through. It's really remarkable, actually. I'm going to show you a couple things on my phone. This is very low tech. I'm just going to show it to you right here on my phone. Some of you have seen this. How do I get rid of that notification there? Because I want to show you just the image I have here. I can't get rid of my notifications for some reason. Oh, there it is. Okay. So if you're in the Conceive With Ease program and you share your wins and intentions, you know each month we have a new phone screen bonus. And this is what it looks like this month. Because I love picking up my phone and being, Annabelle's got it. Yeah. So fun. I love picking up my phone and seeing just this imagery that just gives me that moment of inspiration. And goodness knows, I pick up my phone a lot of times throughout the day. So I see that. That's the first thing I see every time I pick up my device. This month, each month is a different one. And I'm going to show you, I'm distracted a little. ADD style here, but what I went to show you is my aunt. We're visiting. This is, I told you this is low tech. I could screen share, but that's me over on this side. The middle is my mom, and my mom's 10 years older than her sister. Her sister is 71. This is my aunt, Ching. She's wearing, this is so sweet, like she told me all about everything that she's wearing. The hat, the vest, the shirt are all of her daughter's clothes. And she's so happy. She's so happy to carry her daughter with her. She's wearing red Converse too. Those are also her daughter's shoes. She took all of her daughter's shoes. And if my aunt can have that kind of courage and bright, positive light with all that she's going through, I know that we can do that for your fertility too. Okay? There are things we wonder, like, that was so hard. How would I do that? How is that possible? And just seeing that she can do that. She can face this with bright energy and, with everything she's going through. She's thinking about my mom. She's telling my mom has dementia. It's not great. It's hard to watch. But she's like, your skin looks so good. You're looking really, bright. And she turns to me at the end. She goes, you look good too. You look good. And my mom goes, oh, well, she's only 44 or 45 years old. I went, Mom, I'm 54. I'm turning 55 next month. And she has dementia. She doesn't remember my birthday or how old I am. She's off by 10 years. But there we are, the three of us, just, bumbling along and making good of all of these challenges that are part of being a human. So many, from, cancer to aging to water falling through your roof. And so we can do this. We can have courage. We can have bright energy in your fertility journey. It's not too big and heavy for us to hold brightness and lightness around it. And when you've been so deep into it, and I know this because I've been there myself, my story. I was 45. I had been through 2 miscarriages. I was so desperate to have that little sibling for my first daughter. And I went to the dark, miserable places. And I came out of them. I came out of them when I chose my focus to be about nourishing myself, about connecting with others that I care about engaging with life, not about obsessing about my cycle, about my hormones, about all the things. All the things. And that is what I want to help you experience, what I've been releasing, YouTube content and the meditations to help move you along that path. Because it's not as easy as just saying it. Be positive. Trust that it's going to happen. Don't be so serious. You can't just talk yourself into it, right? You have to do things that help move that energy. So that's what we've been doing the last few weeks. And I want to do more with you. If you're feeling drawn to this, I want to help you do more along these lines. And this is for those who are not in my program who might want to join, and those for those who are in my program, because even within my program, there are a lot of different things that we could talk about and focus on. And I want to do more to help you narrow your focus and move away the excess that doesn't need to be there. Narrow your focus on what I think are the core things to help your fertility, and let go of other things. And it takes courage to do that, because sometimes that means stopping the things that you're not sure might be helping. You think maybe, you don't really know. I realize that we've arrived at a place where we have so many resources, supplements, guidance, programs, meditations, blah, 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 blah. So many things that to really come back to basics means saying no to a whole bunch of things that you may be nervous about letting go of. So I see a lot of people on kind of like a maximalist program of doing like everything under the sun. And what I want to suggest as like a compromise to help with that fear of letting go of things that could be helping, I want to suggest setting a goal of 2 cycles. So if you have regular cycles, if you don't, just sort of take the essence of this idea, about 2 months. 2 cycles to say, let me clear away the excess. Let me live kind of like a minimalist, healthy way. I don't need to get busy doing all the things. I'm going to do core things to nourish myself and to really embrace uplifting, energized lifestyle. And I'm going to pay attention to how that impacts me. So my vision is that we make a short-term commitment, not a week, that's too short, but 2 cycles where we're talking about feeding yourself well. So yeah, don't go to In-N-Out Burger every day of the week. We're also not talking about going crazy, like everything I touch has to be organic and I better home cook every single thing I eat, but having a relaxed, healthy approach to food. Getting regular movement if you have a very stationary lifestyle, finding ways to move in fun ways. You don't have to sign up for some big rigorous program, but just get moving. I'd like to suggest a few simple breathing practices that you can fit in throughout your day to help downshift the pacing of your breath. If there's one thing that I can teach people that will have the biggest impact on their nervous system and their stress level, is how to slow the breathing pace down. So if you haven't learned how to do that with me yet, it's something that's fairly easy to learn that can rebalance a whole lot of your body's chemistry. So that's one thing I would want everybody to learn how to do and practice regularly. It only takes a couple minutes a day. And to get lots of sleep, like maybe you need to get your taxes done right now, or you can file an extension, give yourself a little more breathing room and get more sleep. Don't stay up on the 12th, 13th, and 14th of April trying to cram to get that thing done. Looking for ways to really protect our sleep so that we don't run ourselves down. So move, eat, breathe, sleep, include resting, just like taking little rest breaks, and playing. What fertility clinic have you gone to? What provider has told you, number 5 on your list of important things to do, equally important as all those others, is to go out and play. Ask yourself, what lights me up? What is fun? What is exciting? What sparks my creativity? That will be a mandatory element of this plan, is to find ways that you can have lightness and play in your life. So it's really roughly those 5 things, along with a couple things to monitor your system So I'm going to recommend cycle charting, and I have a very simple way of doing that should be low stress, so we can see how your cycle is when you come to this very basic approach. And with supplements, I'm going to recommend stripping it down to the things that you're pretty sure are really important, but sidelining, just for these 2 cycles, anything that isn't verified, pretty important. So if you're taking a dozen or 2 dozen kind of experimental things, let's find out what your baseline is without all of that thrown into the mix. And then you should get that baseline for how your cycle goes. We can watch your temperatures they give us some indication of the overall balance of your system. Once you get a pulse on that, then you say, okay, this is where I am at baseline. It's kind of like doing, when they do these elimination diets to see what your food sensitivities are, they kind of remove everything that could be offending, see where you are, if your symptoms are improving, maybe you've had skin issues and digestive issues, and then they add things back in to see, okay, how do we do with this? How do we do with this? So this is really coming to like a baseline without a bunch of things coming into your system that may not be needed. What's your baseline? And then if your progesterone seems low, then maybe you should supplement. If you're, so this idea is to get a clear baseline and see how this impacts things. I see people doing a lot of interventions to fix things that might not even be broken. What happens when you try to fix something that's not broken? The whole system responds to this thing coming in, and it responds in whatever ways it responds to. And I just think there's a lot of unknowns going on when we have too much in the soup. So let me know your reactions to this. There's one other element I want to share about it, but keep any questions coming so I can hear. I've been sort of evolving how I think about it, and I want to talk about it because I want it to feel easy, practical, and exciting. I want this to feel like something that you can look forward to. I'm also going to encourage a nightly note-keeping journaling, very brief, to note how your energy level is and what might have impacted your energy and how you want to set yourself up for the next day. So that is, I call it Gale Score journaling. I'll show you what mine looks like. It's a couple entries from my own journal. It's just a couple lines to say, okay, my energy level was this from 1 to 5. Oh yeah, it's because I didn't sleep last night. I had I got hungry in the middle of the night and I couldn't go back to sleep. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to pay attention to how I eat my dinner so that doesn't happen again or whatever. So it's just a quick little note of reflection at the end of each day. Now, Emma's asking, will there be calls and Zoom meetups regularly? So I want to kind of feel that out because the way we are with an international audience, there's always challenges with live calls and making it so that everybody can access them. And I want to see how much we need live calls versus chatting in the forum, because we have a private community forum where we can have threads that we start up specifically for this program. And then it's easier for us to all communicate with each other at any time. Okay, Gwen Shin has to leave now. Nice to see you here. So we are going to have, this Saturday, we have our monthly masterclass for the whole Wisdom Circle program. So that's those who are in fertility track, pregnancy, postpartum, any stage. And the topic, I just put up the topics for vote. The topic is going to be breaking patterns of addictive behavior. So this isn't about drugs and alcohol really, but all the different things that can get addicted. Even using our devices that can become addictive. Researching fertility that can become addictive. So we do that once a month, a different special topic. That's this Saturday. And then next Wednesday is our fertility office hour. Same time as this. Yes, I believe it's the same time. And we'll be that will be for members to come in and ask questions about whatever's going on for them. And I'll be going through more details about this 2-cycle cleanse. So I'm going to kind of play it by ear based on who's coming, how many people we have, and what the needs are, what kind of live support there's going to be. And another thing that I'm going to invite everyone to do is to complete the integrative assessment form that's within the program, where you fill out, it's actually 26 pages of information about yourself, so that I can look at it and give you my feedback on what looks to me like, kind of what are some of the core issues going on, things that you might focus on. And if you have questions about what you want to eliminate during the 2-cycle cleanse, what you want to keep in, I can help you with that. I really want to go all in with this group to see what we can do to really make this powerful and to see what can change, what results we can get. One of the things that I've been talking about is how I think the statistics are, if you want to look at statistics, I think the ones that are there are misleading because they're not representing people who are focusing on their best support for their fertility and following them over time. They're looking at people who have gone to an IVF clinic and are getting ready for IVF. Like, that's a different context, and who knows what else they're doing along with getting IVF. Are they sleeping? Are they eating? Who knows what they're doing, right? So I would love to see a group that is really focused on the kinds of things that I've come to believe can really help support your fertility, and collect some of our own data. It's going to be fairly informal, but I want to know, how long have you been trying? How old are you? What have you tried before? And I want to follow everybody up at 6 months and see if our group can beat the odds, because I think we can. Now, it's a little bit risky to say, okay, I'm going to collect data on this, because what if you don't? What if you're like, wow, we're not beating the odds at all? I don't care. I believe we will, and I want to find out. So I want to know who is excited about the prospect of doing this experiment together. Garland, you're a trailblazer. The older I get, more it's like, I haven't got time to waste. If I want to find something, if I want to go after something, it's time now. It's time now to go for it. And maybe it's a little risky, maybe it's a little unknown. I don't care. I've wanted to do this for a long time. I'm like, what do we know about people who are really dedicating themselves to a healthy mind-body path? What do we know about that? Who's collecting data on that? I don't think anybody is. And it's like, it's hard to collect data. It's hard to do it in a way, okay, I'm not going to collect it on a level that I can submit it to a peer-reviewed journal, because I don't have the time, energy, and resources. I want to put the energy into actually helping you, maximize your program for yourself and your fertility. I don't want to put the work into setting up the ideal research protocol. That's a lot of work. You need like a whole team to do that properly. But it'll be informal. It'll be like, okay, everybody, fill out this follow-up form. Tell me what happened at the end of 6 months. Where are you? Just in my program, I think that I see better statistics than the ones that you see. Because when I actually looked at the statistics, 40, 41, 42, up to 43, 44, 45. For the IVF clinics, it's not good odds from 43 on up. I think I've seen better odds than that just within my own program, but I haven't formally collected the data. Okay, so I can't say that, right? I don't want to say, I am beating the odds. I don't know, but I kind of want to know. Emily says, I'm in the middle of trying IVF, but I've been taking the concepts you're talking about, and it's making the journey much more peaceful for me. So I don't know if I can join that group. Emily, thank you for bringing that up. I've been thinking about that situation because it doesn't perfectly align with the essence of what we're doing, but I don't want anyone to be excluded from going along with the program and taking what elements do fit. Right? So if you're in the midst of, you've already been planning this for 4 months or something, and you're about to start your injections next week, and you're like, oh, but I want to do this thing, but now I'm doing this thing. I am fine with you cherry picking and modifying to suit your path. I won't modify the program and messaging to suit that path because it is so individualized, and there's a bunch of other things in that energy that I would want to be able to speak to. So I'll trust you to modify to fit your situation. But I have had, and actually that's the way my whole Conceive With Ease program has been, because I myself never went through the fertility treatment option, and I never felt like I had enough to offer to say, okay, this is what you want to do when you start doing your preparing for your retrieval. Like, that would be a whole other thing. There are people who are doing that. Who somebody out there, Tasha Blasik, I think her name, Tasha, I can't remember her last name. She went through 10 rounds of IVF on her way to conceiving, and she runs a coaching program where she really helps people maximize, like all the details of dialing in their protocols and stuff. Wonderful. I would love for people who want that guidance to go to her, not me. But I've had many people in my program going through IVF and using all the mind-body tools because they're generic. Really, you can apply a lot of the tools to anything in life. So if you learn the tools, you can apply them. And I've had people say they went through IVF before my program and were like a stress ball, and then they learned all the tools in my program and they went through and they felt way more like proactive with their doctors, able to keep themselves calm through the process. So I do feel really good to encourage people who are going through treatment cycles to come in and apply whatever. So I would say it's probably 50-50 in my program who's going naturally and people go back and forth, right? It's not like separate pots. So in terms of the 2-cycle cleanse, to participate in that, you're joining the Conceive With Ease program, and you have access to everything in the program, and you can plug into this cohort experience if you wish to, pull out what's most relevant for you. All right, and good luck. Good luck to you. I'm cheering everybody on, whatever path you're choosing. We just want to see you get to that goal that you're holding in your heart. Premanjali, do I remember you? I remember your name. I joined your programs exactly 4 years ago. I had a very complicated journey with 6 miscarriages over the course of 4 years. Those 4 years were surreal, lots of tears and sadness. And then one day I remembered your words. I surrendered to the universe and remembered a Buddhist scripture that said, "Let it come, let it be, let it go." After years of stressing about food, supplements, exercise, God knows what else, I let go, really let go at 40, and at 45 was naturally pregnant, had a beautiful pregnancy, and have a 5-month-old baby. Girl, I'm getting all the chills. Oh my gosh. Thanks, Natalie. You're an inspiration, and even though we haven't met, I'm connected to you forever. Oh, I live for this stuff, you guys. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you for sharing that. Is she still here? I think she left this a little bit ago. Okay, you're still here. Oh, congratulations, and thank you. I think this is so encouraging to everybody here. And that is it. That is it. Like, you try. And then sometimes, look, at 45, this is why I believe that my program and my participants are beating the statistics. Because if it's really 1% at 45, then I would have had to have thousands of members to see as many 45-year-olds get pregnant as I have seen in my program. So I'm like 100% sure we're getting better results. And I don't even know oftentimes who may have been in my program for a while and then took all the resources and went on and got pregnant a year later. I don't know those things. So Premanjali, thank you for sharing. That's like a little gift to me of like, oh, this is happening behind the scenes. I don't even know about it. That's wonderful. Emma, is this now or never thing, or will you start this later also? Excellent question. Wait, first I'm going to go to Premanjali. She's a follow-up. Oh, and the doctors gave me less than 1% chance of getting pregnant. Okay, yeah, so she already knew I was gonna key in on that. I'm here, and to all the beautiful girls here, believe, always believe. So much yes to this. So much yes to this. Yeah. That's the thing that I'm hoping for my aunt. The doctor said you have 1 year. Okay. And then what else is possible? So, if you're 45 and you've asked the doctor, they've told you you have less than 1% chance, I bet. Most likely that's what they've told you. Some doctors will be hopeful for you, but they seem to be rare. Emma says, is this now or never, or will you start this later also? So, here's the vision. I see in programs that I've been in programs that I've run, programs that I've watched, that there is a greater focus and intensity when we do something together as a cohort. And no matter how well someone sets up what we call an evergreen program, as in you can come into it and do it on your own at any time, no matter how well someone sets that up, it has less impact because you don't have the tide of energy of the group movement. So I'm committing to going like really all in with everybody for the next few cycles. Everybody's going to kind of start at a different time because when your cycle starts is when your cycle starts. And so I'm picturing this as kind of like April, May, June kind of framework. And then probably mid-July we'll kind of wrap up the formal part of the guidance and let everybody kind of continue using the resources in whatever way they want to. So that the content and whatever materials we create along the way will still be available within the program, but it won't be as much of like a focused group thing, if that makes sense. That's kind of my general vision, but it's going to evolve. It's going to evolve based on what I'm seeing. Tanya is asking, do you have a testimonial page where these positive stories go? That would be a good thing for me to set up. The closest thing that I have is, you're inside the program, Tanya, the Inspiring Stories space in the forum where I did one-on-one interviews with, I think we have 7 different stories now, where we like really went into depth with each person about what they experienced. So I need to set up a more informal testimonials page where people can just read stories too. It's just a matter of collecting them all together and making sure I've got permission from everybody who wants to share their stories. Okay, Premanjali said, I always remembered what you went through. And that got me through all the pain and sadness. Oh, Juliana says, thank you, Premanjali, for your amazing story. It made me cry and gave me such belief. I'm 45 and trying to let go and let be. I've been told 1% too. This is kind of what started on me, this whole series with the YouTube videos I started releasing, is that 1% thing. I feel it's just so damaging. So I want to create some new statistics and help people see what's possible. But at the end of the day, Begonia's saying this for me, I don't pay attention to the statistics or bad opinions because I'm here training. Yes, in general, like, I didn't even really know the statistics when I was going through what I was going through. All I was concerned about is what might be true for me and how can I optimize my chances. So the statistics weren't really relevant for that. Okay, Emily says I have to go, but thank you for the technique and the hope. So say please again how to join the cohort. Okay, so let's talk about this. Oh, okay, let me see everything that's here before I start talking about the specifics. What about people who haven't worked with you though? Yep, the 1% club. I don't want to doubt anybody's. Okay, so these are separate comments. What about people who haven't worked with you? I trust that there are many ways that people can find their way. And I am just as excited when I read on a forum that somebody carved out their own path and they got there. I just think it's more evidence that so many things are possible. And I'm doing what I can to lay out a pathway that I believe in, that makes sense to me, and get all of you out of the 1% club. Okay, now Christina is saying, I had 4 miscarriages, went through 2 rounds of IVF, both failed due to chromosomal abnormality. The doctor suggested donor eggs. I almost went for it until I found Natalie, and now my baby girl is 1-year-old. I'm hoping to try for a second. I'm choosing to believe that it is possible again. And Christina did share her story in the Inspiring Stories. Tanya, if you haven't heard that one, you should go check it out. But Christina did one of those interviews with me live. We captured her whole story, very inspiring. Yes, they were encouraging her at, I think you were 41, Christina, when they're encouraging you to go to donor eggs because you'd had those miscarriages. And it turned out that was not what was needed, even though that's what was being recommended. So look past all those statistics of recommendations. Just say, oh, that's one view. Maybe there are other possibilities out there for me. Decide what you want to focus on for yourself. Okay, so for those who are interested in the program, let's get down to the nuts and bolts of how to join and participate. I don't think I'm going to screen share because well, maybe I will. I don't know. It might be easier to talk about this if we look at it together. See, I was going to have all these nice slides to lay everything out, and then all these things went on this week, and I arrived yesterday going, I have nothing prepared, but I have it in my head, and I believe in the mission, and I don't want to delay until I have pretty slides to tell you all about it. So that's why I don't have the layout that I would ideally have wanted to share with you at this point about the nuts and bolts of joining. I'm trying to see if what I have jotted down here is in a place. Where did I jot it down? So the general idea is that you're joining my Conceive With Ease program. Hold on one second. I'm going to find the page where I just updated to show you 2 options. And I've set it up to make it very easy to understand the layout. It's an initial investment of $4.99, and after that first month, it's only $25 a month to continue. And the reason it's set up like that is because I'm going to be putting a lot of energy into making sure that you're coming on board and getting set up for, really understanding how things work for you. And then I want it to be very low cost to continue so that you can stay in the program as long as you feel that any part of it's serving you. So that includes through pregnancy, into parenthood. I support everybody through all those stages. And so it's a higher initial and then a very small continuation. You have 30 days to decide. If it's feeling like it's not working for you, no problem, full refund. So I don't know if this is worth a screen share. It's not fancy. Let me just go ahead and share this anyway. So if you get to the checkout page, you're going to see these options. Okay, this is the checkout page from the sales page. It's not connected right now. I send you the link. If we've had an email exchange and it looks like this is going to be the right program for you, I send you the link. And this is a real quick rundown of what's inside the program. We have an extensive mind-body core training where I have movement and meditations to help deepen your understanding of how to bring about your mind-body balance. I have a system called the 90-Day Egg Nurturing Program. What we're doing, the 2-cycle cleanse, is kind of a distilled down version to make the whole thing simpler for you. That's a big program. It takes a long time for people to go through it. And I'm just extracting the parts for you so that you can dive right in and do what I would recommend for getting a system going that's really going to nourish you. There's also a course to teach you my style of cycle tracking so that you don't get stressed out by it, but you can collect that data. And we have this whole assessment process, which has the form that I want everyone to fill out. We have a meditation app that you can download to easily access all the meditations, and a private community forum, live office hours twice a month where we meet like this and converse with each other. There's anywhere from 3 to a dozen people usually at those sessions. And monthly live masterclasses, which we have our next one coming up on Saturday, and the topics are revolving just different topics based on what I and the group is interested in. Now, this is what's going to be embedded in that. For anybody who's in the Conceive With Ease program, you can participate together in the 2-cycle cleanse, where I'm going to take a cohort through this process of really trimming down your plan, embracing positivity, and supporting each other along the way. And the program cost is $4.99 US initial enrollment, and then $25 a month ongoing. I've had many people reach out and ask about payment plans just to make it a little bit easier in terms of cash flow, and I really want to help support you on that. So I'm offering right now the option for monthly installments of $149, and then after that it won't be automatic. You have to opt in after that if you want to continue at $25 a month. So the total price comes out similar. It's just maybe, I think, $25 more total if you're doing the installment plans. And you can cancel any time that you wish. If in the first 30 days you're realizing it's just not fit for whatever reason, that's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Okay, so that's the financial nuts and bolts of what is being offered at this time. There's no deadline to join the program, but if you want to be in on this cohort experience, this is the time to come in. And what I'll be encouraging anybody who wants to participate in this to knock out that fertility assessment. A lot of people put it on the side burner because it's long, but knock that out, send it over to me so I can look over sometime in the next couple weeks. And we're going to start doing some of our daily journaling and setting up that plan, encouraging each other. I want to show you something that just occurred to me because, I love flowers as a metaphor for all things fertility, growth, creativity. And I had this vision that as we're doing our nightly journaling, maybe we give ourselves a little sticker reward for the various categories of things we're going to do. We're going to eat, we're going to move, we're going to breathe, we're going to rest, and we're going to play. Like, let's say there's 5 categories. And I went on Amazon and I ordered these stickers, these packets of flower stickers. And I thought, what if we give ourselves a sticker each day for each of the categories that we touched that day? So yeah, I went grocery shopping and I made myself some good food. I got a sticker for that. I took 2 minutes to pause and focus on my breathing. I got a sticker for that. I made sure I protected my sleep. I got a sticker for that. So these are some, ideas of how we can bring light energy and positive encouragement into our process. So I'll be, throwing out suggestions for things like that you can do. And I hope that we'll be sharing in the forum, pictures of what we're working on. If you want to do some kind of vision board or something like that, it's just going to be very open to developing a format that feels good to you. And you can pick and choose whatever fits for you. It's not going to be everybody's got to do it this way. I really want to move away from rigidness. It's not one size fits all. What I want to move toward is intuitiveness, connection with yourself, so that you're learning how to read the very intelligent system that you have. You have the most intelligent system that knows the most about you right inside of yourself. And our practices, all of our self-care practices are really about helping you tune into that. So it's not going to be one size fits all. And it's not perfectionistic either, because perfectionism carries a constricted energy to it. We're trying to get it right. We're trying to be good. We feel really bad if we don't do it all. We mess up. We fall off the wagon. We're not going to have that perfectionistic energy. If you have a blank page in your journal, you turn to the next page for the next day and just start again. We're going to focus on positivity of moving forward. And whenever you fall off, we just look at how can we help you get back on. Let me see, some messages are coming in. What about people who haven't worked? Oh wait, we already got that. Annabelle says, I've done mine, do I have to do it again? No, you don't have to do it again, your assessment. If there are new things, all 26 pages. No, I do encourage you to come back maybe every 6 months to look at your assessment and see if there's something that's changed, do little updates. But no, it's not a school assignment where you have to turn it in for a grade or something and do it again. Christina says, there's so much in this program. I also believe what helps is simply being in this positive energy space with Natalie and signaling to the universe that you are all in. It's so worth it. Oh, Christina, I really appreciate that. And it's hard to put a tangible value on that. But wherever you go, whether it's this program or elsewhere, pay attention to the energy of the people that you're around. It makes a huge difference in how you feel about yourself and what you're doing in whatever you do. I'm even looking at the contractors that I work with, who do you feel good around? Who do you feel trust around? Who do you feel gets your vibe? And, definitely with health providers, you don't want to be around people who are going to be negative and doubtful or, stressful with you. So I get stressed out too. I have my days where I'm like, how many bad links did I send out in the last 2 weeks? If you're on my email list, you read my emails, I made so many mistakes. And I was just ranting to my husband this morning. I was like, I feel like, what am I doing? I'm running an online business and I cannot even send my emails out without broken links. And then I went on to send, Annabelle caught it and emailed me this morning. I sent out this email saying we're starting in 30 minutes, but I scheduled it an hour and a half instead of 30 minutes ahead. It's I have my moments where I'm like, what's going on? I can't deal with life. I am not a functioning human. But I get a hold of myself, I pull it together, and I recognize that we're going to have our meltdowns. We're going to have those times when life throws all of the balls at you and you're like, I can't. And then, the next day, the plumber fixed my leak. Yes, there's a big hole in the ceiling, but it's just a hole. It's okay. I'm going to get some good sleep tonight. And you get through it. And so I am always so conscious of what energy I'm bringing to you. And I really protect that for myself and for you. That's why I was so grateful to come on this session today, because it's been such a shitstorm. I was really glad that I had this time carved out where I know that it's all about showing up together and feeling that positive energy. So I really love doing that for you and for myself, and we all do that for each other to bring our positive, empowered, and courageous self forward. Emma has a hand up. We have two Emmas here. Emma P has a hand up. What would you like to share, Emma? Oh, and unmute yourself.
Yeah, that's a good start. I was thinking about when I saw the topic.
Hey, hang on just 1 second. I failed to plug in my speaker properly. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to plug that in so I can hear you better. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, when I saw the topic, I came to think about the question. And let's see, I got in this, there's 2 questions, so let's see if I can remember them all. But I totally believe that it's possible to increase the probability of becoming pregnant at a more mature age, and also that your mood can affect your fertility both positively or negatively, and like you could end up in maybe you see a negative sign and then you go down in a negative spiral because you're like, yeah, fuck, nothing is working, or you see a positive sign and you like, oh wow. But it's one question is like, but also that if you, I know that you have talked about this only positive vibes, and like, let's say that your body's level is like this, and then you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go with positive vibes, but you kind of answered that before, that you should listen to your body. Because maybe the body is trying to say that no, everything isn't positive. You need to fix this, and it's not going to be just your mood and your kind of your mood. Maybe is a good word. But let's see. The other one was, I remember that you said that women that when the month that they get pregnant, they have felt more calm or in a better mood, at least in some way. And then I'm thinking like, if your hormones are in balance because of some reason, maybe it's spring, or then my hormones get even more balanced, or maybe not in balance, but I feel more fertile in the spring compared to the winter. Like maybe you feel more balanced because your hormones are balanced. But like, have you seen any statistics on, or like how these two things influence each other? Like how your mood influence your hormones, or your external factors influence your hormones and mood, or something like that?
Well, everything can influence everything, it seems. You know, if you dig around, you find all kinds of things influence things. So what is the essence? What is underneath the question, though? You're curious, like, is your mood impacting your hormones? Is the seasons impacting the hormones? What are you hoping to figure out?
It's more like, so I've had an experience, and that was in the spring as well, where a practitioner gave me a really good hope, and I started to see fertile signs, and I was like, woo! And then that faded away. I'm like, huh. Then I realized after that was probably because of external factors like the spring. So it's like, I don't know. Yeah, like how much do the mood influence compared to other factors that you can't really, what to say, influence?
Yeah, unfortunately, there's not really. I don't think there's a way to answer that in a very useful way, because the answer at the end of the day is kind of, it depends. It depends on the individual. It depends on the situation. So it's almost more helpful to say, well, what are you wanting to figure out? You know, how concerned should you be about your moods? And I think the more useful thing from all the stuff that you're bringing up is the idea of like positive vibes only. I want to be really clear that that's not what I teach, and in fact, I hesitate to use the term positive energy because it can be interpreted in that sense of positive vibes only, like because positive energy can improve outcomes, people think that they need to have that and they must not have negative, emotions and negative thoughts, and they end up in this battle to block out all the negativity and only hold positivity. And even the exercise that we did at the start can kind of look like that. And it's super important not to be lulled into that simplistic view, because it's important to be able to support the whole rainbow of thoughts and feelings that we have, and not reject those that don't fall into the sunshine category. So it's a little bit nuanced. We do want to see what we can do to amplify the positive and filter down the negative, but we also don't want to be just positive seeking at the expense of the negative, because they all have their their purposes, and to say, I'm feeling doubtful and afraid today. Oh man, that's probably really hurting my hormones and my fertility right now. That's actually not a helpful way to go. What we want to do is say, well, what are we experiencing? How can we best take care of it? But not to get trapped in a certain state and like just so immersed in it that we can't see the whole rainbow. So really what we're trying to do is take care of all the kinds of emotions that we have so that we can have that healthy balance. And I think that's what our hormones are going to respond to, kind of our nervous system. Are we in fight or flight mode all the time? Well, hormones are going to respond to help us with the crisis that's going on. And our hormones are not helping us relax and get pregnant if we think there's a crisis going on. So we want to look at if we're in crisis mode all the time or in a very depleted state all the time and bring it back to more easeful and more nourished. And that we would expect the hormones to reflect that to some degree, because the hormones are working together to help your system adapt to what's happening in your world.
Yeah, and I also came to think about, I don't know if you have heard about David Hamilton's work. He's a chemist from the medtech, from like pharmacy branch, and he discovered that the placebo effect were really effective. So he did a lot of study about that, and he's been writing this book like Why Woohoo Works, and he has these anecdotal stories like this woman who her kidneys weren't functioning, and she did this visualization that she was cleaning them and they got better and better, and she didn't have to do the surgery, and a lot of that kind of stuff. He's probably quite much into statistics. I don't think that he's mentioned statistics. So, but have you heard something that support that kind of? Because that would be really well, I've been kind of trying that, but I don't know how much trust you should place in that kind of just envisioning that you are fertile or that you're becoming more fertile. How much that can. How much difference that can do.
Yeah, so the placebo effect is definitely nothing new. It's super well established that your expectations can influence your outcomes physically. That's why they have to do placebo-controlled studies when they test any medication, because if people think they're going to be less nauseous when they take this thing, they become less nauseous when they take that thing, even if it was a sugar pill. So it's very well established, but there's no guarantees either that if you visualize healing, you will heal. It's something that tips the scale in that direction. So I think it's always useful to incorporate the visualization and the positive expectations, but not saying, if I do enough visualization, then it absolutely has to come true. And if it doesn't come true, I must not have done enough visualization. That's problematic. So I think that it's a very established effect that what we envision and what we hold as possible can influence things in the desired direction, but to not get rigid about that too. Just hold that lightly. Yeah, that's something to add into the mix. But it's not the only thing. It's not a necessary thing either. There are a lot of people who get pregnant without ever visualizing getting pregnant, So hold it all lightly, but just know that it can help you move in that direction. Okay. I am going to look at the chat here. Garland, is the email? You email us with okay to email you with questions. Yes. Everything goes to me, either way. Any email that's connected to me, you can, anything that comes from the program, you can just reply back and it will get to me. So I encourage those conversations. I want to make sure that whatever you're signing up for or considering signing up for, you feel like it's a good match for you at this time. I don't want people to just come in because somebody told them or whatever, or they're just hoping something will make a difference. I want you to kind of, get what we're doing and feel like this is a time when you want to participate in something like this. Another thing that can happen with online programs is we can just like start signing up for everything and then you can't even do all the programs. I've done that myself with things that I'm doing, grow my online business. I'll get support there, a course there, and then you can't actually do it. And I want people to be able to actually try the things out that we're doing, engage with the program, the communities, come to the live sessions, watch the replays, so we can really see where this can go. I do believe that there's so much possibility, broken record there, and I want to see each of you having your best possible chance. So I think it will be a fun thing to do. I'm going to participate in the essence of the program myself, not for fertility, but just for well-being. So regardless of where this experiment goes, you're going to be setting yourself up for general thriving and healthiness too. So in some sense, I feel like there's nothing to lose because you're going to gain so much health and resilience from the process that you can carry with you. You can take these techniques with you into every other phase of life. Okay, any other questions? Hit me with more questions so I know like what I forgot to include, what I forgot to address. I'm going to go back to my notes because I think there were a few things that I was maybe going to say that I didn't get to. So after, what I'm envisioning is after 2 cycles of cleansing, we reassess and see how did it feel when you stepped away from doing research on your fertility, exploring all the programs you might do, researching supplements. When you take a step back from that and fill yourself up with the stuff that's really nourishing and enlivening in your life, after you've done that, what do you see? I think it's not just, okay, we do that and then for 2 cycles and go on whatever direction, but we're developing our intuition. We're really putting a lot of energy into our self-care. What do you see from there? Are you still tired all the time? Are your hormones imbalanced at that point? Once we kind of see where things are, when you get a really good, well-nourished baseline, then we want to see like maybe there's some other issues going. Maybe you've uncovered that you have a thyroid issue and you need some medication support for that. But let's kind of see where things are and evaluate again after you do this cleanse. And then we kind of put the thinking cap on again and say, okay, we've got some data here. Let's see what makes sense. Maybe I do want to try that supplement for whatever, that detox thing or whatever, things. Maybe I want to go some more testing done to see if, I don't know, there's mold in my home or something like that. All the random things that might be worth exploring, but to give yourself a period of time where you kind of have a break from all the wondering, should I look more? Should I do more? Emma says, when is all this available? Is it already? So the concept is already here for you in terms of you can start adopting some of these things, but I'm thinking of the kickoff as next Wednesday when we have our next fertility office hours. So I will start getting things more concrete. I'm probably going to set up conversation space in the forum where we can chat about this and start laying out like specific steps. But in terms of going through your assessment and learning about cycle charting the way that I recommend it, things like that, these are things that you can start diving into right away. So I'm going to kind of see what the interest level is too and decide if maybe we'll have kind of like a cutoff for new people to come in and join, because I don't think it will be so helpful if, every 3 weeks there's more people coming in and finding their way around. I haven't decided exactly. Sorry, that's a little wishy-washy, but it's open right now, and I don't know if we'll have a hard close to the participating in this component, but we're going to start getting into the details of what we're doing together next Wednesday. Okay. What if you're not having regular cycles? I think I spoke to that earlier. These are my own notes I'm reading from. Just think of this in a general sense. Don't think of it as attached to specific cycles. But it's a general notion of let's collect 2 cycles worth of data of what this experience is like. And what if there are things that you don't want to let go that are in your program because it would make you kind of nervous to do that? Like, I don't know, you're taking these Chinese herbs that your acupuncturist has recommended and you don't know if you want to be on it or off of it. You kind of wonder what difference it's making, or it's really up to you to decide what kind of experiment you want to do, how much stuff you want to clear away. What I don't want to be is I'm telling you, you have to reduce down to only 3 supplements, and that you feel like this pressure, somebody's taking away stuff that makes you feel more comfortable. I want you to be your own expert on this, but I'm going to suggest that for most of us, we can have, I'll tell you what I did when I was in my phase of recovering after miscarriages on my way to having my second child. I took 100 milligrams of ubiquinol and a prenatal vitamin, and those were my only supplements. So it can happen with almost no supplements. I don't know how much those things played in or not, but it was very minimalist. And I don't want anybody to feel like they're, in a tug of war with the program over what you're going to include. But really think of it as like an opportunity to give yourself permission to let all that stuff go that God added on after you started down the fertility journey, and see what things are like for you with just kind of natural, good living. Any thoughts on how we can hone in on our intuition to decide what will be beneficial? So in terms of the whole program, in terms of your supplements, can you elaborate on that a little bit? That was asked by someone whose name is iPhone. So I don't know who you are, but can you be a little bit more specific about what you're asking? Feel free to unmute yourself too. Oh, I forgot to mention this one. If you have already purchased any of my other programs and you aren't in the Conceive With Ease program, if you, in particular, what most people have is the Improving Egg Quality Workshop, which is $39. Email me if you'd like to sign up, and I will send you a coupon code to take that much off. You get credit because that's included in the program, and so we'll deduct that from your total. Okay, I would say supplements and everything, including acupuncture, doctors, etc. Okay, how do we hone in on our intuition to help decide what will be beneficial? So my recommendation on this would be what would you put in your program if you're coming from a place of believing that your body has pretty much the resources that it needs? What would you still add in? Just as a thought experiment. What would you leave on the side and what would you add in? It's kind of like when you're decluttering, like pull everything out of the closet and then put back the things that you really like, want, and need. So if you cleared everything out and just went back to like how you were before trying to conceive, what would you put in for your general healthy balance? And so the feedback is, this is so hard as I feel I have tried it all, so now I'm thinking I need to take a step back. And so the other thing that I want to suggest here is that let this be a short-term experiment. So you're not making a long-term commitment to this cleanse idea. You're just giving yourself a chance to see how you are without all the extras. if you have a lovely relationship with your acupuncturist and you just really love going in once a week, and that's a very nourishing time for you, it fits your schedule, you're happy with that, I'm not saying take that away. But if you're like, oh gosh, it's such a long drive, it stresses me out getting there, I'm not sure how I feel afterwards, I've got all this cost related to acupuncture, and then the herbs, they taste terrible. Like, you're just feeling all the conflict and ambivalence about it. I'm just giving you permission to say, you know what? Just for 2 cycles, drop all that away, see where you are. And you might go, wow, I actually was benefiting. I want to put that back in. So if you're choosing something because you're afraid to let it go, I don't think that's a really good reason to keep it in. If you're choosing something because it feels nourishing to you, or you have data that say, oh, my thyroid is not functioning as well unless I have this medication, it's more balanced now, then keep that in. You've got some information. Christina says, I also did everything. The last thing I did along with Natalie's program is Wild Fit, a healthy eating program. And I remember, Christina, you sharing about that. It was a pretty intensive nutrition program that at the time you said it didn't make you feel radically different in terms of your general health, but who knows if that's what made a difference for your egg quality, right? It's like, maybe that made a difference. So that was, anything you want to add about that, Christina?
No, thank you, Natalie. Yeah, I think my take, now that I've gotten pregnant and I had an easy pregnancy and have a healthy baby girl, I think all the things that I did probably helped. And I also really believe in this kind of signaling to the universe that you really want it. Because I think for me, a lot of the things were also mentally that were holding me back, even though I said, oh, I want a child. But then maybe there were some subconscious things that I was still holding on to that made it not possible. So I think everything that I did was probably just showing to the universe, I'm ready. I want to do this, and I'm going to go all in. I'm going to do everything. Mm-hmm. And so there's an aspect of that too. And so I totally agree with you. Use your own intuition. And also, I think whatever comes to you, I believe it is for you. So the fact that Natalie showed up in your life, it may be, the universe saying, hey, this may be the last step you need. And then go with that. And just, yeah, I guess, try everything, see how your body feels, tune into that intuition. And I think with all the practices you're going to do, you're going to get better at feeling your own intuition. I think that will help. And just with that peace and stillness, I think that's when you can figure out, oh, maybe, along with this program, this is the only other thing that I need. And you'll just hear that voice quite clearly. And I think for me, that eating program, subconsciously, I felt like I think I needed to do this. Because up until then, I wasn't, even though I ate healthy, I couldn't give up sugar or a little bit of it, or dairy, or which is all the things that I gave up during that program. And it's not forever. It's for those 3 months. And then the next month I got pregnant. So, and who knows if that was it. Yeah. Like you said, you never know what is the one thing that causes it. It might be the combination, and it might be even just the energetic shift that you made by doing all the things.
So I'm curious, Christina, do you think you will do the Wild Fit nutrition program again on your way to try for number 2?
I think so. I even tried to start it a few times while I was still breastfeeding. And the first time, it was just 3 or 4 months after I gave birth. And then my milk supply went down. And I was like, you know what? I think this is a sign. I need to take care of this baby first before I think about the next one. And then I kind of started again a couple months ago, but then I went on vacation. I kind of went off rail. So now I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to do this. And I think you having this session is making me realize, all right, let me do this for 2 months. Mm-hmm. And maybe not quite as strict as I did it before.
So it's really interesting. It's really interesting, Christine, if you don't mind me kind of commenting on your situation here. It'll give people also the idea of kind of how we have these conversations about these nuanced topics that are very individualized. So the Wild Fit program, as you described it to me, it was a very strict program of give up a bunch of things that are in most people's diets and be very extreme about it. And there's the essence of what I'm envisioning for the 2-cycle cleanse is kind of the opposite energy. So it's like, so I'm going to do this tricky thing right now with everybody here, which is holding that dynamic between, like, your intuition is suggesting something to you, and I'm suggesting follow your intuition, and the basic intuitive heart of the program is try without doing anything extreme and do what's generally really nourishing to you, mind, body, spirit. And you're in a particular situation where you're breastfeeding your baby and you want to get ready to create another one, and energetically and physically, my intuition is saying the most important things are to hyper nourish yourself, not to go into a restriction. And like you said, you tried it at one point and your milk supply started going down. And absolutely physiologically, when we're nursing, we want to be like, dump everything in. Say yes to as much as possible, assuming that those things aren't harmful to you. I had to take dairy out of my diet while nursing because both of my babies had intolerance to milk, dairy. Milk dairy? Cow's milk, that's what I'm trying to say. So I did have to actually eliminate that because there was a sign that it wasn't serving us well. But for the most part, for nursing, you kind of, for your own energy and for your baby, need to be really like not cutting back but adding in. And then do you mind me talking about the conversation we've had about your cycle?
Oh yeah, no, okay. Please go ahead.
I just want to be sensitive to privacy. You're waiting for your cycle to come back, and the idea of doing more restrictive things feels a little opposite energy to me, that most likely you're not going to be able to get pregnant yet because your cycle's not back, because this is the beauty of the system. The system is saying we still got a little one in the pouch. We've got a little one in the pouch. We don't start growing another one in the pouch. That's what breastfeeding is telling your body. Yeah. We're giving all this resource to this other agent and we're not gonna open up to growing another being because we've got to balance our resources. So to bring the system into a balance where you can get pregnant sooner would mean shifting the energy out through breastfeeding and shifting your baby to non-breastfeeding so that your body says, oh, now we have room in the pouch for another one. So that's kind of my own experience of that relationship. And for me also, it was breastfeeding and having a young one created a lot of challenge of just imagining space for another child in my life. And in a way, it was a self-correcting thing. I wasn't able to get pregnant until my baby was independent enough from me that there was actually space in our whole system. You know, the system's not just me and my body, it was just me, my body, and my baby. Like, do we have space for another one? And your system is so intelligently saying, not yet, while you're nursing as much as you are. And you don't have to completely come off nursing, but if you reduce it down, your cycle might come back just by reducing. So that's where I'm a little bit like, ooh. And this is the kind of conversation that I'm talking about for each person who wants to come on board. I want to see your assessment to see that between your intuition, my intuition, what we read in the research, what kind of modifications make sense for your system. And my suggestion to you, Christina, would be not to go into a dietary restriction style at this time, but to, if you're really wanting to move forward to get your cycle back, address the amount of nursing that's happening. And if you're not ready to do that, I would still be really nourishing yourself to work on your egg quality and you focus on that, realizing that you can't get pregnant till your cycle starts again, and giving yourself space to enjoy the one child before you bring the other one in. You don't have to be in a hurry, even though we tend to think that because there's a 4 at the start of our age. We have to be in a hurry, but you don't have to. And that might be part of the intuition that you want to be conversing with, is when is the right time for us, you baby and your partner, to expand. And if it's time is now, then it's about like creating more feeding independence for your baby, so that your body says yes to ovulating again.
Yeah, no, I think that's the main challenge now is, I feel like the clock is ticking again. And I'm like, I need to get on this, but my baby still wants me. And I feel like the past couple of days of weaning her off has been really hard for her because she really loves that time to bond with me. And now she, like last night, she was like feeding on my breast. I'm like, is there even anything coming out? And she's just there. And it's just a part of me feels so bad that I have to cut her off. So that's why I'm really struggling.
I have a lot to say about this topic. Can you come to the pregnancy and parenting officer?
Yes, I know this doesn't apply to most people here.
I feel very passionate about this topic, actually. Very passionate about it. And I'll say a little bit because for all of you here, even if you don't have one, I'm hoping that you will have one, and at some point maybe having this thought process yourself about, oh my gosh, when do I need to start working on number 2? And I do not hear people talking about this dynamic of how trying for number 2 pushes you to move past your dedicated bonding time with number 1. I don't hear people talking about this. And I think that it's extremely relevant for our age 40 and up group, because you're getting that messaging that you're over the hill, and if you want to have a sibling for your child, you better start as soon as you pop that baby out. It's like, this is really not, it's not serving our community well, and we're not having enough of these conversations about that particular issue about how breastfeeding is going to suppress your fertility, but breastfeeding is an important part of your bond if you are breastfeeding. It's a very important part of your bond, and people say, oh, just wean, and they are not addressing the emotional and attachment issues that are involved for mother and baby. They're just looking at it like, oh, you want to use this bottle or this one? This bottle or this one? It's not like that. There's a whole bunch of elements in there. So let's, Christina, continue this conversation in our fertility and pregnancy and parenting office hours. So I have 2 sets of office hours. I think this is helpful to know too. You go through the fertility track and you get pregnant, then you go to the pregnancy office hours, and I've expanded those to include postpartum and any phase of parenting. Because you know what? The questions don't stop after you get pregnant, after you have your baby. All of these are still, all the principles that we talk about apply in the next stages. So you just continue on in the program and you have access to all these resources and these conversations that we have that are like, they're real stuff, and they're nuanced, they're individual to your experiences. Sound good, Christina? Remind me, okay? Remind me next week that we want to dive into this particular issue, and maybe I'll record part of that conversation because I'm seeing it coming up more. And it's an exciting thing in my program. Those who've had 1 are going on to try for number 2. We've had several people having their second child in our program, and it's super exciting, and I love being able to support you across those stages. Okay, Premanjali, I went through a complete blood panel, was low on iron, and let go of food restrictions, acupuncture, and instead of stressing and fretting and feeling miserable, I did whatever I loved. 1 hour walks with my beautiful pet a good quality prenatal vitamin. Okay, so this is an example of how things looked for you. Okay, so you were low on iron and you let go of food restrictions. Yeah. And I do think it's good to have those kinds of testing things done to see where we might be deficient. And for the most part, I know there are a lot of food plans about taking things out. And my greater concern for most people is what they might be missing. So make sure we add in things. And I really like Kendra Tolbert and what she shares about nutrition on her YouTube channel. She's very much in alignment about the idea of not getting perfectionistic with food, having a healthy relationship with food, not being afraid of food. I think some of the current programs encourage, Kendra called it disordered eating in one of her videos. She says she feels like people in the fertility community start veering toward disordered eating, and I really appreciated that she actually called it out as that, because I see this pattern that we can get perfectionistic, we can get really rigid about things, and those are some hallmarks of eating disorders. And I know some in our community have been through eating disorders and then get into the fertility world and all that stuff is getting triggered again. So I'm definitely more of the, like, what should we add in to make sure we're amply nourished, while also being aware that there are things that we can be eating that could be throwing our system off. So we want to watch for those things and be aware. But when it comes to reducing things that might not be so healthy, we can do that in a way that kind of honors our whole system, not just saying, no donut for you. Like, what's going on here that we can address to help you be able to really enjoy having a healthy, balanced, nourishing relationship with food. All right. Is there anybody, actually the Wild Fit program, while asks you to let go of certain foods, also stresses the importance of eating nutritious foods. Great. Glad to hear that. And it may be that you come up with a modification of it that focuses on the adding and not the subtracting. Would feel a little more aligned for me. Definitely adding in lots of goodness. But I think for most of us, we don't need to be restricting as much as some programs might suggest. I do think there are cases where somebody has a very sensitive system and they really do need to be careful about certain things and somewhat rigid about certain things. But I don't think that's even the majority of people. All right. Any other questions from anybody here? How are you feeling? Who is thinking about, how about this? I'd be curious who's here with us live. Who's thinking about joining us, whether you're in the program or not? Who's thinking about participating in this 2-cycle cleanse idea together? I see Annabelle has a hand up, and type in the chat if you have your video off. A lot of you hiding with no video on here. Can't see you. And I see we've got somebody driving. Emerita's driving. Keep your eyes on the road. Don't look over here. I missed that part. You missed the part about the 2-cycle cleanse? You're going to have to watch the replay. I'm not going to retell. We're going to come together for approximately 2 menstrual cycles of clearing away the things that are questionable, that are in the way. Garland says, I'm leaning towards on just that cohort, if at all possible. You can come and just be a part of that cohort and not do the other parts of the program. I will give you a heads up that my plan is to do another 7-day chill out retreat in May. And then we follow that up with week-long 7-day collections of, that's relevant, with several 7-day series of meditation practices that teach you all my whole resource library of meditations. And so I'm going to be encourage everyone to follow along with that. And so you can hang out for just the 2-cycle cleanse portion, but there are a lot of other elements that are going to continue forward, and you get to decide which of the other parts of the program you want to plug into. You think of it like coming into a community center where there's this special program going on and then there's all these other activities. You get to pick and choose which things you want to participate in. Annabelle, I feel it's just what I need right now. I'm kind of fed up of being so good and just want to have fun. Let your hair down. Right? Sometimes it's like we just try so hard and we just say, you know what? It's okay to just let it go. Be a normal human being. Christina, if we're in the continuation program, we already have access to this 2-cycle cleanse. Yes. So this is like a special feature we're adding in, and if you're already in the program, just watch your emails for updates of when we're going to be doing these things. Juliana, definitely considering, sounds amazing and aligning with how I'm feeling about my approach. Great. Okay, so iPhone says, can you tell me what your name is, iPhone, so that if we connect again later, I'll know that we had this conversation. That is kind of what I'm feeling. Let it go for a few months, then come back strong again. Yeah, and you may find that the letting go for 2 cycles is being strong. Maybe that is exactly the kind of strength that you need. That's what I'm hoping that some of you might discover. Jessica, okay. Okay, thank you for sharing your name. All right, so it's been a marathon. Who's been on the whole 2 hours with me? All right. I think that was everything that I want to cover. Let me know if you have any questions. Unmute yourself. I'm going to take a moment now to just look at everybody who's here with us live. And I want to just kind of send some positive energy to you. Oh, okay. We got a question from Emma L. Go ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I don't have a question. I've just been thinking about a thing that I heard in a podcast actually yesterday that I have tried to like embrace maybe, but they said something like gratefulness is more powerful than disappointment. And I thought that was so beautiful because, I mean, we all live with disappointment and maybe especially in the fertility journey, but to focus on gratefulness and the things that we have and so can be so much more powerful than all the disappointments that we get. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I think that we want to keep always like be aware that there's that possibility, right? There's always, of course, we have our struggles and our frustrations, and at the same time, there are a lot of really wonderful and beautiful things happening. And my aunt, who I shared about for those who are here toward the beginning, who's going through cancer treatment, and prognosis is not very promising, but she's holding hope. And she's extremely grateful. She keeps talking about all the things that she's so grateful for. Even like, well, if I don't have the medication to knock out the nausea, I feel horrible. I'm so grateful for this medication. This great medication's amazing. You know, there's just so much focus toward what is helping, what is working, what is beautiful. And I come to that a lot for like looking at world events. It's very, very painful. It's at any given time, there's all kinds of tragedies going on in the world. All you do is go to any news source and they throw it right in your face, all the tragic things. And right now, super duper horrible things that are going on. And at the same time, there are many beautiful things going on. And we don't want to like block the negative and not know, you know, people are suffering in the world. We need to stay open and aware and do what we can to bring about greater harmony and peace and mutual regard for one another, and to stand strong when we see those not abiding by reasonable, respectful way of being with our fellow humans. So we need to pay attention to the negative and at times, you know, take a stand and make changes. And at the same time, we have to stay connected to the light and the beautiful things that humans are doing at the same time. There's these humans doing awful dastardly things, and then there's these humans doing amazing, beautiful things, and it seems to be part of the human lot that we have all these different colors and shades of how we can be with ourselves and with each other. And so I turn toward that a lot when I'm distressed over how humanity seems to be out to get itself and crush itself under like just why are we this way? And at the same time, there are beautiful things around us. So I always try to keep sight on that, on the light and the beauty, to keep going. And there's always like flowers blooming and reminding me that no matter how dark the days can be, there's this bright, blooming, and creative energy around also at all times. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that suggestion for inspiration, Emma. I appreciate that. All right, so Sharon says, I've just arrived home but listened attentively to the whole session, following this up with an email. And I will, I'm going to drop links to 2 things. Whoops. Yeah, I'm sorry that I didn't have like a nice sales page with all the details. But, you know, I think this conversation can help you understand what's going on. And I'd rather, you know, just focus on answering individual questions that people might have. So this is, whoops, I sent that message to the waiting room. That doesn't work. How do I send to all? Meeting group chat. Okay, I think that's it. That is where you can see all of the program information. There's nothing on there about the 2-cycle cleanse. That's new and I haven't written that up, but you get the idea, I hope, from what we've talked about. And I'm also going to put in, to be more expedient here, if you already know, like you don't have any questions, you want to sign up, you're not in, that second link is for the enrollment link where you can choose between either plan and go ahead and enroll. The first page is the overall program information, and the Enroll Now button will take you to a form that gets sent to me with a little bit about yourself, any questions that you have. So that will start a conversation one-on-one between us to help you sort things through. If you already know that you just want to go straight to enrolling, get started right away today, dive into the resources now for the whole program, and come to our masterclass on Saturday. We're talking about breaking addictive behavior patterns, fertility office hours next week. You can get in and get started right away. I do want to give you a heads up that as an online program, there are a lot of logins and like finding your way around. So set yourself aside some time to orient yourself, and all the orientation stuff is laid out. But you do need to set up time to orient yourself so that you'll have clarity about where things are. Okay, so you have those links. Grab those if you want to have them to look at later. And I'm going to take just a moment for anyone who wants to hang on for another minute to just send energy of compassion, courage, and hope to everyone who is here. And you can connect with your own breath. You can receive this energy from me if you want to envision that. You can receive any helpful energy from the universe, whatever source of positive energy you want to take in. So just connecting with your breath. Noticing your breathing, noticing your body, noticing your heart energy, and allowing yourself to receive whatever is nourishing and helpful to you right now. Thank you for your presence here today. I appreciate all of you.
Thank you.
I'm going to turn off the recording here. If anybody wants to share anything post-recording, you're welcome to.